if I can find the video. But of course, if you want to be part of the show, hit us up on all the social media platforms. If you're watching live and you want to support the show, Super Chat is a good way to do it. Venmo is a better way to do it. If you are watching and you like what you see, hit the like. If this is your first time here and you would like to see more, hit the subscribe button. Do all the YouTube things. If you are watching this after the fact and you want to leave us a comment on what you think, the comments is a great way to do things. These things help us show up in the algorithm. So when people are looking for Sharks related content, they find us. If you can do these things, we will love you forever. That being said, it has been a incredibly long weekend. We did the 17-year. It felt like a lifetime. This is my second life actually. After we went through the first night of the draft, and then I jumped on with Jules to do day 2 up until like the 5th round, maybe. How far did we go? We did a lot.
Too far.
Yeah, too far. Yeah, it was like, and this is the pick, and we're all typing to figure out who this guy is now. Yeah, I mean, overall thoughts on the weekend. What do you guys think? Obviously, I think we all hate the format, but I will let you go first, Mark. What are your just broad thoughts before we really dig in here?
Yeah, the format, I'm hoping it's a one and done. I think the old format was kind of a unique, special thing that the NHL does. Having all the teams there, everyone in one room, you see GMs talking, you see GMs on the phone. Also, the players get to meet the GMs. I like the old format better, and I really hope we go back to that. And especially since this looks so much worse following the epic year that it was before at the Sphere, right? Like that was really the epitome of draft events. So this year kind of looks a lot worse. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I always enjoy the draft, so I'm kind of a little bit biased with that, but I definitely would like a switch back to the old format.
All right, Jules, what were your thoughts?
Format was awful. Never do it again. That's it. There it is. I don't think any more needs to be said.
Yeah, no, I didn't like the format. So basically, here I got a bunch of graphics that I'm juggling. So Jules is going to be the one to hit the chat. So if there's something in the chat, Jules, just tell me to shut up for a minute. Throw it up on the screen. We're gonna double team this. Jules is gonna watch the comments, and I am going to just try and keep things organized and keep things moving so that this show isn't a 5-hour debacle. Before we start, a couple things that I do want to say. A lot of the information I'm using is coming mainly from 2 different draft guides. It's the Future Considerations draft guide and the Elite Prospects draft guide. I will do my best to make sure that when I am using something from the draft guide, I'm going to make sure I do my best to say that it's from the draft guide. I'm not going to try and appear that I am stealing anyone's work. That is not my intention. So I will make sure that I differentiate those guides, information they took from those guides from my own opinions. I will do my best to do that. But just off the top of the show, if you say, that sounds like something I read, it probably was. And we're not hiding it. Like there's in the preparation for this show, that's how we did it. So that out of the way, the Sharks made 9 selections. I guess we can get right into it. The first selection by the San Jose Sharks was number 2 overall. It is Michael Misa. He is a center / winger. He is 6'1", 183 pounds. He shoots left. He is Canadian. He currently plays for the Saginaw Spirit of the OHL. There are rumors that he was talking to some college programs, but there is no commitment there yet. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to sign his ELC or whatever. His regular season run was 65 games played, where he scored 62 goals, 72 assists, 134 points, 45 penalty minutes, and he was a plus 45. Michael Misa had a rough playoff, though, and I have no problem saying that. They were swept by the Erie Otters in 4 games. He scored 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points, and he was a minus 10. I do want to say, while we're on the top of the playoffs, because people are probably being like, oh my God, I was told this guy was good. The Saginaw Spirit starting goaltender was injured before the playoffs. Their backup was the one that played. A lot of people will tell you that goaltending in the CHL is not good. And while I think that is overplayed a little bit, the drop off between the starter and the backup is usually pretty precipitous. So I think that should be said. I will give you the grade tools, elite prospect ranks. They give him for the people that cannot see the graphic because they are listening on the audio stream, they gave him a 7 for skating, a 7 for shooting, a 7 for passing, a 7 for puck handling, a 7.5 for hockey sense, a 6.5 for physical play, which gives him an A grade in their ranks. The tool grades are on a scale of 1 to 9. Future considerations also gives a letter grade for different things. They give him an A for skating, a C for shot, a for playmaking, a for puck control, and an A for hockey sense, and they give him a C for competitiveness. So those are the quick glances. I'm gonna take this graphic off the screen now. I'm going to give you just a couple of things that from each draft guide. Elite Prospects Elevator Pitch is a dynamic play driving dual threat scoring center with exceptional details, contact skills, and a machine like motor. One of the most well-rounded forwards to come out of the OHL in years. Michael Misa is a true all-arounder, combining pace, shutdown ability, a vast repertoire of skills. Misa finished as a top point getter not only in his draft class, but also across all major hockey leagues. This is a lot here. I'm going to go to what future considerations says. I just feel like if I read this for 10 minutes, everyone's going to leave. Future considerations opening blurb on him is Misa's a highly skilled, versatile forward whose game is powered by elite agility, advanced vision, and all-polished, all-around offensive toolkit. His dynamic skating, marked by quick acceleration, excellent edge work, and a fluid stride, let him maneuver through traffic with ease and evade pressure while maintaining possession. A natural play driver, he thrives in transition by carrying the puck with speed or distributing to teammates with smart, well-timed passes. His hands are soft and deceptive. His stick handling ability allows him to create space in tight quarters, particularly along the boards or in congested areas around the net. Misa has proven effective both as a goal scorer and a playmaker with quick, accurate release that cleanly beats goaltenders and sharp vision that enables him to find teammates in difficult passing lanes. On the power play, he has a dual threat from the flank, equally capable of threading a seam pass through traffic or finishing plays himself. His ability to process the game at a high speed and anticipate defensive movement adds another layer to his impact, constantly creating dangerous opportunities. That's what the draft guides say. Mark, what do you say?
I think he's a very, very, very good complete player with a very high ceiling. I think this was the no-brainer move. Our reaction showed it. Everyone's nerves leading into it because of these stupid rumors showed it. And I even see some people talking about things in the chat. Just stop. No more rumors. Misa, I think he was a Shark like literally a month ago. I don't think there was any chance internally that he was not going to the Sharks. And I know there was a lot of fire, a lot of people out there spreading words, but remember, like, their job is to generate clicks, to get interest. And I'm not saying these people were making things up, but like 6 weeks ago, it was pretty well stated that the Sharks were taking Misa, and there's been no hockey really since. So why would that have changed, right? But in the end, I think we got 1C, who's probably going to be our 2C, and it's going to be an exciting 10 to 15 years of Celebrini, Misa down the middle, and I just think the sky is the limit for Misa. I'm very, very excited to watch him play, and I do think there's a chance he could be the one guy who makes the NHL next year. Doesn't mean he's going to, but right. I think there's a chance he could.
Yeah, Jules, go ahead.
No, I mean, Mark kind of hit it on the dot, right? There was all the speculation that they were going to take Frendel, and low key, I kind of understood it, right? You look at the Sharks prospect pool.
I talked myself into it. I'm not going to
lie. Dude, we were on a Discord call the night before the draft, and we were all just talking ourselves into it. I was watching highlights of this kid again. No, look, like, I get why, and those were false or not false, whatever. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about, arguably the best forward, if not, actually, no, let me rephrase that. The best forward in this draft class, this kid basically had a goal per game in the OHL. And yes, I know it's the OHL, but he had 62 goals.
62 goals. Like, just for perspective, as someone who regularly watches the OHL, 62 goals is a lot of goals in the OHL.
Yeah, like he had 62 goals. Most of the time, he got more than just 1 point in the OHL. Like the ceiling for this kid is insane, and the fact that you compare him with a guy like Celebrini, with a guy like Will Smith, like a William Eklund, the Sharks have the best forward core in the league right now, and it's not even up for debate. Like, I do not care. Like, drafting Misa was the right choice. Now you have an insane 1-2 punch, and now you can move Will Smith to the wing and keep that connection he had with Celebrini. A+ pick. Thank you for not overcomplicating it and making me really mad.
Yeah, I think as far as like the rumors go, like, do I believe that there might have been something? Because it's not just like one guy who's like, okay, this is who we're drafting, and that's it. Like, there's a whole group of them, right? And do I believe that there was probably people in the Sharks draft brain trust that were probably banging the table for Ferndale? Probably. Ferndale's a good player, and you could make sense of it, right? But there was a clear, to me anyway, and I'm not a super expert, but to me, there was a clear drop. There was Misa, Schaefer, and then there was a drop, and there was everyone else, and then there was another drop, and then, obviously, and so on and so forth. But like Schaefer and Misa, in my opinion, like they were neck and neck in the same tier of player. So I'm super ecstatic that Michael Misa was the pick. I think Michael Misa is a great player. And he has all the tools, and like Mark said, like, I think he could easily start the year in the NHL. Now, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. Obviously, he has a big decision to make now, right? If there's any fire to the smoke that he was talking with college teams, you have to do one or the other. You can't do both, unless they change that rule somehow, which I can't see happening. So you know what I mean? Like, so he's going to have to make a choice there. But if he doesn't go to college, I think there's a very good chance that he at least gets his 9 games, and hopefully he gives them a reason to stick around longer than that. Yep. So yeah, I don't know. Like, the line combinations are silly.
I think we'll know by pretty much August, right? Like, he's coming to the dev camp, and then if he commits to a college, then he's pretty much going to college. If he doesn't and he comes to camp, then I think he's pretty much thinking he can make the Sharks this year.
Yeah,
because I just can't see them sending him back to juniors.
No, that'd be pointless. Real quick, Kevin Lacey's right on the spot here. I still insist that the Sharks had a massive need for a forward. Drafting Misa gives Sharks the piece they needed most to complement Celebrini. If they somehow win the lottery next season, great. Yeah, I think drafting Misa.
If they win the lottery next year, just close the league.
If they win the lottery next year, just at this point, we need defensemen. I don't care. No, I'm joking. Trade the pick. We're trading Gavin McKinney. You heard it here, folks. No.
Oh my God.
Let me start that rumor right now, shall I? What was I gonna say before I got derailed? No, look, like, it was the obvious choice. They didn't galaxy brain it, and you're adding. I think the happiest Shark right now is Igor Chernyshov.
I think they should all be happy. The thing that too, like, I think one thing that I do want to say, and I said this on our live stream, is that, like, yeah, the obvious thing seems like Celebrini, Misa, and then moving Will Smith to the wing, but I don't think that has to necessarily be the case. I think Michael Misa could also play wing. I think the thing that I like the most about this pick is it gives them options. You can move guys around. Like, I think of the centers that are there, I think it is Celebrini. I think Celebrini obviously going away, and then it's Misa, then Smith. But it doesn't, like, it might
have to be that,
it doesn't have to be, right? It could be Will Smith with Misa on the wing, and that would be fine too. I love the flexibility it's going to give them. I think, like, again, the tippy top of the guys that they have gotten from this rebuild so far. I mean, they've done a really good job developing talent, or grabbing talent. It's a matter of developing now, and I'm really excited going forward. And it's been hard to get excited as a Sharks fan for a while, but I think this is probably the most excited I've been by this team since 2016.
I think it's I'm probably 2019 Game 7, but yeah, I'm joking. I had to bring that up. Love you, AJ. No, yeah, I mean, look, it's hard not to be excited, right? Well, you look at the forward core they're building.
Yeah.
And I think they just got stronger in this draft also with their forward core. We'll get to another pick that they made that I really like, and that's just helping growing their insane forward core, right? I think the only thing left in this Sharks rebuild to get is defense. So
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to move on. I don't think there's much more we can say about Michael Misa that you probably haven't already heard a bajillion times at this point. Michael Misa is a San Jose Shark, though, and that's really damn exciting. Their second pick of the draft was also in round 1. It was 30th overall. It is goaltender Joshua Ravensbergen, or is it Ravensbergen? I don't know. I'm going to call him Ravensbergen because that's what it's going to be. Just get over it. He is a goalie, as I stated. He is 6'5", 192 pounds. He catches left, which is rare among NHL goalies. Most goalies catch right, I feel like. His nationality, he is Canadian. He is from the Prince George Cougars of the Western Hockey League. In the 2024-25 Western Hockey League season, he played 51 games. He had a record of 33, 13, and 4. He had a 3.0 goals against average, a .901 save percentage, no shutouts in the playoffs. He was in a 7-game series where he went 2-3-1. He had a 3.60 goals against average and a .96 save percentage. The one thing I will say about the Cougars is that the blue line in front of him is not that good. Although they did lose to a lower seeded team. They were the 4 seed. They lost to the 5th seed. The elite prospects tools, they give him a 6 for skating, a 6 for transition, a 5 for hands, a 6 for tracking, a 5 for post, a 7 for depth, an A grade as a goalie. Future considerations, letter grades were an A for athleticism, a A for positioning, a B for reading the play, a B for tracking the play, an A for rebound control, and a B for technical skills. I got a much smaller blurb this time. Elite prospect says the elevator pitch is a big, composed, confident goalie who uses all his tools effectively. An elite puck tracker that is able to come up with the big saves. They call him by far the crown jewel of the goalie draft class for this year. Ravensbergen is the only goalie in the class who feels like a lock to play NHL games. He is an imposing 6'5" goalie who moves well and has elite play reading. He does not have to look flashy because he's always in the right position. He challenges shooters appropriately, which can lead to situations where he simply engulfs the entire net because of his size. If there is a concern, it's his 5-hole, which reflective of his stance and where his stick hovers above the ice to match his large frame. It's something that other larger and NHL goalies have adapted to, and if shooters can shoot quickly between his feet, there is a hole to aim for. Overall, he looks like a future NHL goalie, likely as a part of a tandem at first, but also with the potential to be a number 1 goalie who can play 50 games or so in a season with some growth and maturity. Elite future considerations, says Ravensbergen is a technically sound athletic goalie whose blend of size, speed, and poise makes him one of the most intriguing netminders in his class. He moves efficiently in his crease thanks to powerful pushes and excellent footwork, allowing him to track east-to-west plays with ease and challenge shooters aggressively. His exceptional mobility and fluid lateral movements are supported by advanced positioning and angle control, keeping him square to shooters and eliminating easy targets. While he covers the top of the net well with his blocker and glove positioning, there is room for improvement in rebound control, particularly with low shots that kick into dangerous areas and are not redirected effectively. His tracking on long-range attempts can occasionally lapse, especially when dealing with screens or tips from the point, but his strong fundamentals help mitigate this. Puck handling ability outside the crease remains inconsistent and can lead to unforced errors, exposing his team to unnecessary pressure. He can also be overly reliant on the butterfly technique, which, when combined with the average blocker and glove skills, may leave him vulnerable against shooters who can elevate the puck quickly. Still, these limitations are largely technical and correctable, especially for a goalie who plays with such high-end movement and control. That is Joshua Ravensbergen. Jules, I'm going to start with you this time. How do you feel about the goalie at 30?
Well, I mean, I think at first, definitely shocked for sure. You just don't expect the Sharks to take a goalie, especially like it was just not on my radar, right? It wasn't one of the guys we talked about. It just wasn't really on my radar. after they drafted him, after I did some more research, I love the pick, and I'll tell you why. He was viewed as one of the best goalies in the class, if not the best goalie. You watch him; he's 6'5". He's an athletic freak. He is oddly flexible. You know, he's watching him. He holds pucks really well. Like, in my opinion, getting that value at 30, you just kind of have to go for it. And that was something the Athletic podcast was talking about. Like, it's hard to find starting goalies in the NHL. Like, if everything panned out, you got yourself a starting goalie who you can pair with Askarov and have one of the best tandems in the league, right? And it's always, goalies are voodoo, right? They can be great one year and horrible the next year, right? So in my opinion, it doesn't hurt to add a very impressive goalie who's 6'5". I don't know. You just watch his highlights. It's hard not to get excited by this kid. So I love the pick. I think he's going to take a while, right? So he might, he'll take some time. I don't think this is an insult to Askarov in any way. It's just,
No.
we can't have Askarov playing 75 games, right? So when Raven, I keep on calling him when Raven. I'm going to call him Raven. When Raven is ready to go, I think he'll make a really elite tandem with Askey, whenever that is. So I love the pick. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Watch this kid's highlights. It'll impress you. He's a freak.
Mark.
I will say I was also shocked when they took the pick. It was the last thing I expected them. Like, in all of the boards, all the players available, it was the last guy I really expected them to take. I'll say at 30, getting a guy who probably was maybe top 25 projectable, it's good value. That being said, I still don't like the pick, and I don't really think I'll like it until he's starting in the NHL. I think with the players you have on the board, and again, this is actually no commentary on him as a player. He's a good goalie. I actually haven't watched him, so I really can't comment on him too much there, but it's just the nature of how I feel about the position. And I love goalies. I respect the hell out of goalies. So this is nothing about goalies. It's the simple nature that in the NHL, you can get goalies for fairly cheap. All right. Vegas won the cup with Aiden Hill, right? They got him for a 4th round pick 2 years out. Colorado just got Blackwood from us, who's a good NHL goalie, for a 2nd round pick. All right. Now, I know the 30th overall is almost a 2nd round pick, right? But I'm just thinking, like, best case scenario, he develops into a startable goalie in the NHL. And yeah, you probably got your money's worth at that point, right? But goalies are hard to project, and you have to have a great development system for these goalies to turn into that starter, that guy who can be a 1A or a 1B, right? You look back to when the Sharks had a great goalie pool. You think about the days of Kipper, Toskala, Hedberg, Nabby, like all those guys that came up. We had a great goaltending development system at the time, right? We have not proven that we have that right now. We haven't developed a goalie since I don't even know when. So with the names that are available, with the needs of the team, I just don't love the pick. That being said, I do think he can develop into a starting goalie at the NHL level. It's nothing against the player. It's just really the nature of the position and how it fits in at the NHL level. So I'm very mixed on it. I've warmed up a tiny bit since Friday, but I still don't love it, and I would have gone a different direction.
So I am similar to Mark in the fact, like, I was very surprised by the pick. I didn't see it coming. And I do echo some of Mark's concerns here, but I do think that one place where development actually is good on this team is actually in goaltending. I think since Greer's taken over and they brought in guys like Ryan Miller to help with the goalies, I think we have seen some improvement on a lot of big project guys. And I think that's the one thing that, like, Askarov, they had to acquire in a trade, but they've never really drafted the high end guy, like the notable guy. They've always kind of drafted or signed these project players from other places. And I think they've had some pretty decent results with some of these players. Like, I think, Mackenzie Blackwood was very complimentary of the Sharks goalie coaching system in getting his game back on track. So I think, like, bringing in a goalie who's already high end and who has some technical but coachable issues, I think it's an ideal thing. And I'm kind of glad that the Sharks did this, because I think, I love Askarov and I think the world of Yaroslav Askarov, but he had a pretty injury riddled season this year, which kind of gives me a little bit of concern, right? And there's nothing behind him. Like the Sharks goalie prospect pool is Askarov, and there's nothing behind him, zero. So I like the fact that they kind of highlighted a need and took the best goalie on the board, consensus best goalie, and they took him. It's not a project. I mean, it's still, they're all projects, but it's not like it's not a it's not like a Georgi Romanov, who, yeah, way more of a project. They came in, there's been things that I liked about Georgi Romanov, but I've always been of the opinion that I'm not sure there's an NHL goalie there. Magnus Krona, again, there's things that he improved on, there's things I liked. I didn't see an NHL goalie there. Like, this is a player that projects into the NHL. And the other thing too is that you can always, even if, let's say, Askarov's amazing and he ends up being one of these crazy dudes that play 70 games and we don't need Ravensbergen. Well, guess what? Now you have a good trade chip, because look at the haul that Askarov brought to Nashville.
Yeah. And Greer did say that he was going to go BPA and not.
Yes, Thomas Greer. Thank you.
And not sort of draft by positional needs. And again, like I said, like that Athletic podcast said with Promin and those other guys, like taking the value pick at 30 he's valued there at 30. Like, in my opinion, he should have not gone there at 30. Columbus took a completely off the board goalie at 20, right? Yeah, I get why people are upset because Fiddler was on the board, but I think if he hits, it's a starting goalie and a really good starting goalie.
And not only that too, but like when you look at like getting goaltenders is easy, but it's not super easy. I mean, I think Edmonton has to upgrade goaltending. I don't know how they're going to do it this year.
I do want to address this. Sure. Considering the shock at the moment, you look at the Sharks getting the best available forward and goalie in the draft. That is incredible. Trying not to dream where this team is in 2 years. Yeah,
well, it'll be a little bit longer for Ravensberg, but
he's a way out. But like, they did get the consensus or whatever you want to call it.
Consensus.
Best forward, best goalie. Yeah, we're really well said, Tucker.
All right. Anything else before we move on from Ravensbergen?
Not for me.
All right. Everyone's good. All right. Who is next on the board?
Everyone's favorite pick.
Oh, this is the
spicy pick.
This is the spicy one.
This is the spicy pick.
With the second round, a 33rd overall pick, the Sharks selected Simon Wang from the Oshawa Generals. He is a 6'6" defenseman who shoots left. He is 209 pounds. He is a Chinese/Canadian citizen. He had 32 games played. He only had 2 assists for 2 points, 19 penalty minutes. He was a +3 in the playoffs, where Oshawa went on a deep run. He had 3 assists for 3 points. So the stats aren't going to jump off the page, but I do have some comments on that. He is the highest drafted Chinese-born player ever. I've seen some things about that, and I don't think that's why he was drafted. Elite Prospects gives him a 7 for skating, a 5 for shooting, a 5 for passing, a 4.5 for puck handling, a 4 for hockey sense, a 6 for physical, which has him as a B grade prospect. Future considerations is a little harder on him. They had him ranked, I think, at 109. They have his skating as a B, his shot is a C, his playmaking is a C, his puck control is a C, his hockey sense is a C, and his competitiveness is a D. Elite Prospects says their elevator pitch is an enormously gifted skater with massive playmaking potential and flashes of vision, the biggest development project in the draft, but unique potential. His 6'6" frame and high-end skating are a rare combination and extremely valuable in professional hockey. In Wang, you get all the advantages of size without the usual drawbacks that come with it. He can flex his lower body, bringing his knees over his toes, and drop his upper body just at just the right angle to enable fast and smooth lateral pivots, crossovers, and backward stride. Future Considerations says Wang is a tall, athletic, puck-moving defenseman whose skating and ability reflective to his size constantly stands out as the defining strength across scouting evaluations. His mobility through all three zones is smooth and efficient, anchored by a long, powerful stride that is surprisingly quick edge work. For a player of his build, his balance and ability to change directions while maintaining control of his body are rare and make him an asset in transition, defense, and rush support. Evaluators repeatedly highlight his gap control, poise with the puck, and ability to absorb pressure on zone exits as traits that are highly valued by professional scouts and project well at higher levels. He owns a heavy shot from the point, though his release is methodical. He struggles to find space for clean looks. The more concerning is the inconsistency in his physical play. While his size implies a capacity for dominance in board battles and net front confrontations, his engagement levels vary wildly. He can seemingly actively avoid contact, losing position, and puck battles, and that a player of his stature should control. Other times, he finishes on checks and shows strength along the boards, though these appear to be sporadic. This has created uncertainty about whether he can elevate his intensity and assertiveness to match professional expectations. Despite these concerns, his growth over the season has been noticeable, particularly in decision-making and overall poise since adjusting to his new surroundings. Before I throw it to the group, there's something I do want to say here. So Simon Wang started the season in the OJHL, which is not a good league. It is a garbage league. However, it is the league you would go to if you're in Ontario and you want to play college hockey. The second the NCAA rules changed, he jumped into the OHL with the Oshawa Generals, which you go from playing into an absolute garbage league to the number 2 hockey league in Canada. I think the quickness of his adjustment is super impressive to me, but I do think that needs to be said when you're looking at like point totals and stuff. It's especially I think when you're talking about like physicality and stuff too. I think it's different reffing standards, trying to get used to that, and just I think you have to adjust to a speed of a game that is, again, you're going from one of the worst junior A leagues in the country to the second best league in the country in the OHL. So if you are unsure about this guy, go watch a video of this dude's skate. Mark, I'll let you go first on this. You're muted.
I can't hear you, Mark. You're muted.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I think I would say that I'm cool with this pick. I wouldn't say that I love it, but I'm cool with it. I think exactly what we needed in this pick was a defenseman, right? I think there were several big defensemen available, and I think work ethic, I think some of his NHL frame, his skating abilities, it will get him to the NHL. So, I mean, with any draft pick, that's always a win right there, right? Getting an NHL player out of it. I do have concerns about the offensive upside. I don't know if there really is any at a higher level. That's very much what I'm curious to see over the next, I'd say 12 to 18 months, whether he goes the college route immediately to BU right now, because I was reading some things that I think he actually might not go for another year.
Yeah, he's staying in Oshawa, I think, for 1 more year.
Okay. Yeah,
he's staying in Oshawa for 1 more year, and then he's going to Boston University.
So now that he has games under his belt in the OHL, I would like to see some offensive boost there. But in reality, I think this guy projects as either a person who's attached to your top defenseman, right, to stabilize the pairing, or he's a second pairing guy. So overall, I'm happy with the pick. I'm cool with the pick. We all were Fiddler fans, but this, I think, is a pick that I'm just as okay with.
Jules?
This is a high upside swing, I'll call it. And there's another defenseman that's sort of like this, where it's just like high upside swing. Like you're just swinging for the fences. And I don't mind that. I think if anything, this is going to be a very big test for the Sharks development system. Mm-hmm. And how can they develop a player? Because they drafted a few guys in this draft who were very raw, but can skate like the fucking wind, right? Again, like Ian said, Go look at this guy skate. You will be blown away by this. Like a 6'6" should not skate like that. Typically, when 6'6" players go on skates, they look like giraffes who drank some tequila. So, sorry, I didn't have a good metaphor in my head. No, look, like I don't mind the pick. I do think there are better options available and more of a positional needs options available for the Sharks, but Greer said he wasn't going to do that, and he definitely didn't do that with this pick. But yeah, I think he does have a good shot that I think doesn't really get used a lot. He struggles to kind of create that like offensive, like, offense, just offense in general, it feels like. But if he can figure that out a little, I think he could be a really good shut down D-man who can get the puck up the ice, but you gotta first be able to get the puck up the ice, right? So I don't mind the pick. I'm okay with it. I think if he hits, he's gonna hit at a very big level, but if he misses, he's just gonna miss. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's a huge swing, right? And there is questions like, can they take what this, because this guy's a freak athlete. Like, the one thing that I look at this guy is he is a freak athlete, and he started playing hockey late. Like, he didn't even start really playing hockey until he was 14. So like, to be in the OHL, like starting playing hockey at 14 is just, it's dumb. And then drafted in the second round. Like, you have to be just an absolute freak athlete to do that. Yeah, there's a little side worship at play here, but there was another player when we did our draft preview show. There was a player with a very similar profile that I was interested in Carter Amico, who went around the same time too. Cause I thought, oh, this is really high, but then Carter Amico, I think, went like within 3 or 4 picks
38
yeah. Okay. So there you go. So like really, really close to where Simon Wang went. So I like the swing. I like when, I like that the Sharks are still willing to take just that swing on a guy, and you have a lot of draft picks. And yeah, I understand that, I understand people being like, yeah, but the right side, but I'm going to strongly maintain that this is something that you can correct in other ways. Drafting is just one piece of the puzzle. There's other ways to fill needs on a team. If this hits though, man, like this, if they can hit this out of the park, it's going to be like the risk versus reward here, like is going to be good. And you're right. Like if the risk, if it planes out and it doesn't work out, then yeah, you've burned a pick. But let me tell you, the Sharks will not be the first team to burn a pick in the draft, and they won't be the last.
The reward is too high, I think. You know what I mean? With what you're getting in this kid, like he's a freak. Real quick, I do want to address this Puck Guy's comment. This pick should be dedicated to Chris Collins, the leader behind the China Sharks. What Arizona is to Matthews, this could be huge for China hockey down the road, and it has roots with Team Teal. Love it. Yeah, I mean, like we said, like go look at this kid's. I think someone mentioned it in the Discord last night, but this kid's combine numbers is ridiculous.
Yeah,
his wingspan is ridiculous.
He is a freak athlete. And again, like if you have questions about this, just go watch this. Go watch the way this guy moves around the ice. Like
thank you.
Yeah, he skates like he's 6 foot and he's 6'6". Like. There's definitely, like, again, it's something that the Sharks are there's gonna be have to work that's gonna be done here. But for me, I look at it from like, one, he's on one of the best programs in the Ontario Hockey League, and now he's committed to one of the best schools in college hockey. So if those guys are if those teams are both interested in this guy, then I should probably too. I didn't like the pick at the time, but it's kind of growing on me, and I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. I don't know. I don't hate it.
It's a meh.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
It's fine.
All right, let's go.
I love the chat. Never change, guys.
Who is next? Next is Cole McKinney. He is the second round pick. He was taken 53rd overall. He is a center. He is 6 feet tall. He is 189 pounds. He is a Canada-U.S. dual citizen, but for the purposes of hockey, he is American because he plays for the U.S. National Development Team program. His national development team, I'm going to just give the national development team program thing. He's played 60 games. He had 27 goals, 34 assists for 61 points, 61 penalty minutes, and he was plus 18. In the under 18 World Juniors, he played 7 games. He had 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points, 2 penalty minutes, and was a plus 4. His skating is ranked a 7, shooting a 5. This is from Elite Prospects, of course. Passing 5. puck handling is 4.5, hockey sense is 4.0, and the physical is 6, and that gets a B grade as a prospect. The future considerations had him a little bit higher. They had him at 20. They give his skating a B, his shot a B, his playmaking a B, his puck handling an A, his hockey sense a B, and his competitiveness a B. Elite Prospects elevator pitch is a trustworthy two-way bottom six center projection who outworks almost anyone. He's a capable play connector and offers a physical net front presence with scoring threat. They go on to say not only the national team development program's leading scorer, but one of the most productive players in the USHL. McKinney brings the same high-end attention to detail and determination, forcing turnover after turnover. He never stops engaging opponents. With proactive physicality and a strong stick, he rips away possession from bigger opponents and puts the team right back on the attack. While his puck handling and lack of scoring threat may limit his overall scoring upside, he's a straightforward protection to a bottom six role, provided he can add a bit more explosiveness and physicality and get off the wall far more often. Future consideration says he is a smart, competitive two-way center whose game blends vision, versatility, and consistent effort across all three zones, making him a reliable presence in any situation. His offensive strengths begin with high-end hockey IQ, heads-up approach that allows him to process the ice in real time, enabling him to operate fluidly as both a distributor and finisher. His game is not without areas of concern. His straight line speed is average and somewhat hampered by inefficiencies in his stride, such as an overly choppy motion and pitchforking tendencies. While usually responsible in his own end, he occasionally misreads coverage assignments or gets drawn out of position when asked to rotate or cover for others, leading to brief breakdowns. Offensively, some of his passes under pressure lack precision or seem rush, and his success rate with ambitious feeds into high danger areas could improve. Who went first last time? The opposite person go first.
Jules' turn.
Yeah.
All right.
I love this pick. Yeah, I think this is a steal of a pick. This guy led the NDTP in scoring, and now the NDTP had a really bad year. Like, just they didn't have a lot of, like, none of their guys went in the first round. They had an off year this year. But I really like this pick. This guy's a face-off beast. Was a face-off beast for NDTP. Was taking all the important draws for them. You watch him. He's a two-way monster. Like him and another guy that the Sharks actually drafted in the later round were kind of leading that offense for NDTP with a few other of the guys. Yeah, I think if he hits, he's a really, really good third line center who I don't remember what article I read. It would just be a match. Like, he's a matchup nightmare if he hits. So yeah, really solid player. I don't see any top six necessarily potential, but if you land a really good 3C at pick 53, you are walking away really happy from this year's draft, especially knowing how not deep this draft class was. So yeah, I really like this pick.
Mark?
Yeah, I think I like this pick. Probably might actually even be my second favorite pick of the draft for us. I think where we got him, I feel pretty good about how he projects. I do agree, based on what I've read, that he most likely projects in the bottom portion of the lineup, but that adds value, right? At 53, you're not probably getting first-line players unless you really get lucky. So I think it's a good pick. It looks like he has some offensive abilities. If you can get a good third-line center who can pitch in with some offense, play on the PK, then you're pretty happy. So I think overall, it's good. I think somewhat speaks to some of the weakness with this draft, that at this point in the draft, which is still fairly early, you're looking at most guys who had an upside of like bottom half the line or bottom pairing defense, but you only can pick from what your pool is, right? So I think where the Sharks were at this point, this is a pretty good pick.
Yeah, this is they've picked a few guys from the National Team Development Program this year, which kind of surprised me a little bit because, Mark, I'm going to go to your judgment on this because I know you're far more versed in this. Like, this was a pretty weak year for the National Team Development Program, correct?
Yeah. Very, very weak year. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the thing that stands out to me, and you're gonna there's a theme that's gonna start happening here about working, and like, again, like there's definitely Greer has a type, and there's a lot of like you're gonna see this over and over again where it's like, this guy just worked, this guy has a motor that doesn't stop, this guy's a tenacious forechecker. Like, Greer has a type, and he definitely, this is the beginning of what's going to be a theme going forward in this draft. So yeah, I think again too, like when you're looking at like obviously when you're talking about skating and things, like I think there are things in skating that you can fix with coaching, and it's important to remember like these are 18-year-old kids. There's a lot that can change in their game. So just because they have issues now, just because I always try to find stuff in like I like Future Considerations Guide because it has like the positives and the negatives, and they have them pretty concisely like in places, so you can kind of quickly go and say like this is the positive, this is the negatives. I'm not trying to take them down, but I think it's important to kind of focus on both. And I think that just because something sounds terrible now doesn't mean you can't fix it as they develop into a better player. So all right, let me get the next graphic here. Why can't this be in order? So round 3, number 95 overall, not to be confused with apparently the new 95 in Anaheim, Roger McQueen. Teddy Merton, he is a center. He's 6 feet tall. He's 189 pounds. He is a right shot. He is American. He plays for the U.S. National Team Development Program. Actually, he plays for the Chicago Steel, although he did finish the year on the National Team Development Program. On the Chicago Steel, he played 47 games, scoring 17 goals, 13 assists for 30 points, 71 penalty minutes. He was a -7. I think Chicago had a pretty rough year this year, as I'm understanding it, and he did finish the year on the National Team Development Program. Elite Prospect ranks gives him a 5 for skating, a 5.5 for shooting, a 4.5 for passing, a 4.5 for puck handling, a 4.5 for hockey sense, and a 5.5 for physical play. They rank him as a C grade prospect. Future Considerations gives him a B for skating, a C for shooting, a C for play, a D for puck handling, a B for hockey sense, and a B for competitiveness. They had him ranked really low at a 149, where Elite Prospects had him at 85. The Elite Prospects elevator pitch is a big physical winger with a heavy release and playmaking flashes. He looks like a future bottom 6 winger who steps up in the playoffs, provided the skill takes a big step. They go on to say he is a two-way forward whose strong play earned him late season stint with the National Team Development Program. He is a strong straight line skater who plays like a prototypical power forward. He fires off the rush after driving through traffic, battles in front of the net, creates traffic, and spins off of contact for rebounds. He also brings puck retrieving and defensive value. And then Future Consideration says he is a versatile, intelligent two-way forward who demonstrates advanced hockey IQ, anticipation, consistency across all 3 zones, making him highly dependable presence in nearly every situation. He plays a structured team-first game and thrives in systems that reward responsibility, discipline, and attention to detail. His strengths include forechecking ability, where he combines timing, vision, and physicality to pressure puck carriers, force turnovers, and win board battles. His powerful strides and above-average edge work allow him to close gaps quickly, sustain puck pursuit, and disrupt opposing breakouts. As a shooter, he benefits from being in the right places, but his mechanics lack polish, as his shot power and accuracy can be inconsistent, which limits his ability to finish scoring chances effectively. In transition, he's less of a play driver, as puck control and stick handling under pressure can falter, and his passing lacks crispness when navigating through the neutral zone. Mark, is it Jules' turn? I don't know.
I won. It's Mark's turn.
It's Mark's turn. All right.
Yeah. I think my reactions to this pick are going to start getting a little bit, and the future picks are going to start sounding like a broken record. I think I am neutral to this pick, as in, I don't know. His profile does not stand out to me. I have never watched him, so I do not have experience with like scouting in quotation marks. But I just don't think a profile stands out. Like if USHL team is bad and you're a good player, you can probably still get a point per game, right? He did not come close to a point per game. He did have 17 goals in 47 games, which is like not bad. But nothing about this pick stands out to me. I think back to past years where you still got good feelings from sometimes a 5th, a 6th, a 7th round pick, just because you look at what they did maybe in the OHL or what they've done in Europe or there's something there where you can say, wow, this is an upside pick. And I really like going for that at this point. Whereas this is like, if he develops, is he a fourth liner? Like, I just don't know what he is. So
it's a stopjack.
Yeah, I like that he's going to BC. I like that he's going to BC.
Yeah.
I get zero sort of like, oh, I'm going to pay attention to this guy next year and feel like optimistic, right?
Right.
So I'm just neutral.
Yeah, him and another pick, I just couldn't really get a read on. Like everyone else, I have like a lot of notes for. This kid, I was just like, huh. He has a shot, but he's really inconsistent with his shot, if that makes sense. Like, if he fixes it, then it's great. But like half the time, he's like, sometimes he's on it, sometimes he's off of it. To me, there's two things. I think he was one of the guys where someone messaged me and were like, apparently he has some like family connections with Mike Greer. Don't take my word on it. It might have been him or someone else. I'll double check in a second. He's fine. It's met. Like, he has a good shot. I think if he can develop his like the consistency, he's a pain to play against, which you'll hear me say about 18 more times in this fucking draft show. Yeah, I would have not gone for him in the third round. I feel like that's a bit high for him, but also this draft class was extremely weak, so who knows? But yeah, I don't have much to say. All I can say is he's tough to play against, hard on the forecheck, needs to actually develop some consistency with his offense, because I just don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not super excited here either. I just think, again, I feel like this is going to be just like another Sharks third round pick that doesn't do anything.
The curse of the Sharks third round.
The curse of the Sharks. I just, there's nothing here that, like, there's other players, like when there's a couple of other players who I could be a little more excited for. And again, I think there's a theme here. Like, works really hard.
Thank you. Yeah, that.
Works really hard, all of that stuff. But you can find guys anywhere that work really hard and play hard, and you can plug into the bottom of a lineup. I agree with Mark. The numbers from the USHL don't really jump off the page at me, especially like you're still talking a third round, and maybe it just speaks to the overall strength of this draft class in general. But it just, nothing here excites me. I don't think it's a bad pick per se, and I don't know who I would have taken at this point otherwise. Like but I don't know. It doesn't. There's nothing here. It's like it sounds like a player that I'll probably like just because I kind of like the grindy, pain in the ass guys. But a player I will probably like, but I don't know. I just feel like, again, for a forward, I think for production and like for a third rounder, you probably just want a little bit more. All right, let's see who is next. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God.
You just call him Ilyas?
Yeah, this is Ilyas Dultanov. I'm just calling him Mego. He is Mego from now on. This is Mego. He is a fourth round, 115th overall pick. He is a defenseman who is 6'2" and 179 pounds. He shoots left. He is from Russia. He plays for Yaroslavl Lokomotiv's MHL team. In 40 games, he had a goal, 6 assists for 7 points, 37 PIMs, and a +14. Elite projects, that's what they are. Elite prospects ranks 5.5 shooting, 5.5 skating, 5 shooting, 4 for passing, 4 for puck handling, 4.5 for hockey sense, 6 for physical. He is a C-grade prospect. He was actually not ranked by Elite Prospects, but Future Considerations had him at 96. They give him a B for skating, a C for shot, C for playmaking, C for puck handling, B for hockey sense, B for competitiveness. Elite Prospects says the elevator pitch is a physical, assertive defenseman whose game revolves around his mobility and aggressiveness on defense. He has one of the best tool foundations in this Russian class. He kills play early in the sequence, spotting puck carriers as they exit the zone, enveloping him with his 4-way mobility and range. He disrupts rushes and barely gives the time to attackers to make plays in the defensive zone, closing on them as soon as they get the puck. Future Considerations goes on to say that he is a physical defense-first blue liner who plays with noticeable intensity and commitment to defensive details. He is aggressive. He is an aggressive presence in the defensive zone, actively engaging in board battles, laying timely hits, blocking shots, and tightly marking opponents forwards. Especially around the net and on the penalty kill. Despite his developing toolset, he remains a raw player with notable inconsistencies. At times, his eagerness to initiate contact can pull him out of position, which can lead to coverage issues that expose the team defensively. He can sometimes make poor decisions under pressure, leading to turnovers. His offensive upside is also limited. He does not consistently show advanced puck handling or creative instincts. Jules.
Yeah, Greer has you know what else Greer likes? Tall D-man who can skate. Most of Greer's defensive picks, they can skate like the wind. Like, they are just really good skaters, and he's another one. For 6'2", he does not skate like a drunk giraffe. On tequila shots. No, I actually don't mind this pick. He is, again, going to be a very good test for the Sharks development system because he is very raw. But he's not afraid to use the body. Like Hungry Coyote said, he 14 plus in 40 games. Like, I don't mind the bet on this kid. If he hits, he hits. It was the 5th round? Nope. 4th round. Jules, come on. Again, Greer loves very tall defensemen who can skate really well, and he can skate like the wind, right? So if you can develop those other aspects of the game, why not worth it? I watched him play. I saw a clip of him playing. And at times he'll throw a hit and just it's not the right time to throw a hit, right? So that kind of awareness of when to use your body and when not to use your body. But I don't mind it. It's worth the bet. If he hits, I see maybe 5th or 6th pairing upside, maybe 4th if something goes crazy. But yeah, don't mind it.
Mark?
Yeah, I am okay with, just the lottery ticket aspect of it. Look, if you draft 7 or 8 6'3" defensemen who can skate in a 3-year period, maybe 1 or 2 of them become NHLers. So I kind of like that aspect of it. I don't mind his numbers in the MHL. Not the best league in the world, but it is a junior league that is pretty good in Russia. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton other than that. I think, again, and I was looking, so I'll go through this once we go through all of the picks, but just looking through the later rounds of other previous drafts, I just don't see a reason to be excited about this pick, though. There's nothing to me that's standing out to me other than the fact that he's 6'2" and can probably skate.
Yeah, I like the swing. It's hard, right? Because I know a lot of people are going to be there's a lot of people that you go to elite prospects and you see not very many people have them ranked. And I think it's important to remember that it is very difficult for North American people to scout in Russia right now, given the current climate of things. So I think normally I'd be oh, well, no one's ranked this guy. What are the, why are the Sharks going so far off the board? I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a case of it's hard to scout in Russia right now, given the current political climate. So I would try and assuage concerns there if you're oh, no one's really ranking this guy. Again, the point production is fine. I think you still, even for guys that end up being mostly defensive players, you still kind of want some offensive upside in the junior leagues, right? I still think you need some of that. So that always gives me pause, even if this guy obviously projects as a defensive, more defensive guy. So I think the lack of production gives me a little bit of pause, but again, I don't know, what's the context of those points or being plus 14. What's, again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I avidly watch the MHL or I know what teams are good and bad in the MHL. So, at a glance, it's not super exciting. But I do like some of the tools that are there. Again, it is a lot of raw talent, and it's something that is going to have to get refined. And I need to see, I think it's the same with Simon Wang, right? It's something that I will be more excited. Like if the Sharks can show an ability to mold some of these guys into actual players, then I can get excited about future players in the same mold. But I just feel like defensively, they've never really taken a raw talent and turned it into a player. So I have pause. Like it's everything sounds good on paper, but can the Sharks make it a player? And that's where I have questions.
One other thing I'll add in to that, for whoever follows the writers from The Athletic, Corey Pronman was pretty high on him. I think he had him in like his 80s or 90s and said he was one of his guys, which he usually has for like guys that weren't like heavily rated, but he's a little bit higher on than the rest of the group. So despite the fact that I still wouldn't say that I'm excited about it, I do trust Pronman to some extent, and him being high on him makes me think that he's actually had a chance to watch him and sees some translatable game there.
Yeah. I also really want him to hit. That way we can have a Mukamadulin and Eli pairing. Sorry, Randy.
Yeah.
A Mook Bago.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to
boy, the other one.
Oh, here we go.
Oh god, this pick is something.
Zachary Sharp was drafted in the 4th round. He was taken 124th overall. He's a 6'1" defenseman who is 181 pounds. He shoots left. He is American. He is currently on the national champion Western Michigan University. What's the catch? He is a 20-year-old player, which means he has passed through the draft twice. Harder to get, obviously, information on a player like this. This is from these elite prospect ranks are from the 2023 draft guide. I don't have an updated number. So 2 years ago, they ranked his skating at 4.5. His shooting was a 4. His passing was a 5. His puck handling was 5. His hockey sense is 4.5. And his physicality is 4.5. In 2023, and I want to highlight that, I want to stress this. In 2023, they said after a impressive Hlinka Gretzky Cup, he had a disappointing year of production in the USHL, 14 points in 62 games, which wasn't for a lack of trying or skill. Sharp is an activator, never passing up an opportunity to join the play. He flies up the weekend to become lead pass option, sprints up the middle to take a forward role, and becomes the trailer. The rest of his game is volatile. He possesses the deep stance, stick work, and physicality of better rush defenders, but lacks the gap control to effectively kill plays in the neutral zone. In his post-draft grades, so when Scott Wheeler did his draft grades, he said that his play leading up to the national championship game for Western Michigan warranted the pick. So I do take solace in that. Mark, I'm going to go to you first, just because I know you watched the national championship, so you would have seen him play more recently and have hopefully more recently things to tell us about this player.
Yeah, so full transparency, I did not track this guy. He is a double overager, like you mentioned. I think the way I view this pick is this is the kind of guy you bring in more on like a tryout.
Right.
When we build our dev camp and you have guys who are, there to fill it out, this would be the kind of guy I would think of there. Listen, what Elite Prospect said is a little bit inspiring, but I will tell you, watching a lot of college hockey, there are a lot of guys who do that do not translate to any level beyond maybe the ECHL or playing in Europe. I think his numbers are okay for a college defenseman. They're not
42 games played, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points, 12 penalty minutes, and a +19 on the national champions.
Yeah, like you add in, say, 10 assists in there, and suddenly he's got around 20 points. The 5 goals number is pretty decent. He is on a national championship team, which means he had to have been pretty decent this year. You don't make it there relying on just 1 or 2 defenders. So, that, I guess, says something for him. But again, I don't look at this as a guy that I'm expecting to play in the NHL. Like, I think most likely if he's a very good AHL player, you're probably pretty happy. And which, I don't know, with the 4th round, it's again, lottery tickets in the 4th round. But to me, that seems more like a guy you just don't even draft, which is probably why he wasn't drafted 2 times before this.
Yeah, I don't love this pick. Double over. Yeah, he did log a good amount. Looking at his logs or whatever, he did log him out a good amount of ice time for Western Michigan. But as Kevin pointing out in the chat here, Sharp was a 3rd third pair D on the NCAA championship. There wasn't much to see, especially with the bigger stars like Vesinainen on that blue line. Yeah, like not a huge fan of taking a double overager because, like Mark said, you can just invite them to your training camp. I don't think it, you know what I mean? Like, unless they know something we don't, but it's fine. It's whatever. I don't know. Yeah, that I don't have much on this kid. I wasn't expecting them to take a double overager. So
I mean, again, I think this is a player who, when you're drafting somebody who's older than your current draft class, especially 2 years older, I need to see more. There needs to be more points. Like, you're an older player. Now, I understand he's playing college hockey. In college hockey, you're playing against older competition. It's not like it's junior hockey where he's the oldest guy on a team, and you'd expect. But I still think you want more. I guess if the Sharks thought someone was going to take him, I mean, I get, but like, so let them have him. I don't know. I really, really, really dislike when overage players get drafted, unless there's like there has to be like a special circumstance for it. Like, I think last year, Colorado drafts Ilya Nabokov in the second round, I believe. Again, overage player, but just shows consistent stupid goaltending numbers in the KHL, right? So you draft that guy because why not? This situation here, like, this is a guy you put on an ATO for the Barracuda. I don't know what they're doing here.
Pug Guy with a question here. Does the national championship add some shimmer to their resume, i.e. Doug Wilson wanted players who had cup winning experience?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, at people value winners. People want winners in their organization. But again, so put him on an ATO.
Double overager. Like, I can't. I just don't love that.
Wait till he's done playing college and then give him an ATO.
Yeah, example of overager I was okay with was last year when we took Miskey, right? He was a 1 year overager, or so he was like missed the prior season in the draft. But you looked at him, his numbers popped. He has an NHL profile, right? 6'4" defenseman, 200 plus pounds. And he showed that season that teams probably messed up in not taking him the year before. I don't feel like we see that here. Did this guy really prove anybody should have picked him the last 2 years? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I did a lot of digging. Like, I checked like other draft guides that I had. I spent way too much time on this player. Maybe, and that's why I'm bitter about it. Just trying to basically find something.
I was trying to look up highlights of this kid.
Right, just trying to find something more recent than like, oh, this is what they said in 2023. And I couldn't find anything, and it was an exercise in frustration. It's a weird pick. I don't love it. Winning habits are real, but there is no power of vibes will overcome better built teams with better players. This
can't say that about the team of vibes. We are the vibes.
All right, so let me bring up the next player here.
Don't like this pick either.
We can continue to be angry. All right. Max Heis is a 5th rounder, 150th overall. He is a center. He is 6'3", 191 pounds. He shoots right. His nationality is Canadian. He will be playing for the Prince Albert Raiders in the Western Hockey League. This year he played for Penticton in the BCHL. He played 40 games. He had 23 goals, 17 assists, and 40 points, and 25 penalty minutes. In the playoffs, he had 14 games played where he scored 5 goals, 12 assists for 17 points, and 10 penalty minutes. He is one of these players who is going to play a 1 more year in junior, and then he is committed to Michigan State. Elite Prospects gives him a 4 for skating, a 3.5 for shooting, a 4 for passing, a 3 for puck handling, a 4.5 for hockey sense, and a 6.5 in physical play in 2024, because again, this is a 19-year-old player. So in 2024, the elevator pitch was a hulking center whose primary goal is to retrieve pucks and put defenders through the end boards. He's simple and possesses a myriad of protection skills. They went on to say that Max Heis is a cannonball on the ice, a rangy 6'2" center who's overly simple, even limited, but his ruggedness, hard skill, and puck retrieval ability impact the play whenever he steps on the ice. Manhandling defenders on the perimeter may be his main goal, but his defensive impact was equally as crucial to his team this season. He's a dedicated back checker. He sprints back, driving his body into puck carriers, forcing them into glide offs. That is what they said in 2024. Again, I spent a lot of time looking for something more recent, but not ranked this year, which is common. There's a lot of times where players that are D+1 don't make the rankings unless they're super exceptional. I'm going to go first on this one because I just need to say this. The BCHL, if you're in the BCHL as a 19-year-old and you are not putting up a point per game, you are not worth drafting. I understand why they again, you look at the thing, again, this is another guy who's responsible defensiveness, has a ton of snarl, which the Sharks desperately need, but I just think you can find it in better players. This is my main takeaway here. And I'm hoping that, he goes to the WHL and he, and he has a good season. Cause I think again, much like the OJHL, the BCHL is the best of the junior A leagues in Canada. I will say that. However, the second that NCAA ruling came down, the Rats scurried off the boat and went to better leagues when they could. And I don't think the BCHL was much different. I think you had a lot of players in the BCHL move to better programs when the NCAA ruling, because again, you play junior A if you want to play in Canada, but still go to college. Jules.
No, I don't love this pick. It's the 6th round, not the 6th, the 5th round. I'm not really going to complain about it in such a weak draft. Like, this draft was weak after a certain point, and this was one of those points. Look, he just screams very defensive center who doesn't really take any risk offensively, and I just don't. That type of player doesn't scream translate. Like, sure, the defensive skills are going to work, but you want some offense, right? And yes, he put up numbers in the BCHL. Yes, he was over a point per game in the playoffs, which I do think speaks some volume because teams do like playoff performer, if you get my drift. Thanks, Florida Panthers, for ruining the league. Shout out Ian for having that. Look, it just screams, defensive center. From everything I read, he will go get the puck no matter what. Like, he will find a way to get that puck no matter what it takes, even if it's like hitting a guy through the boards. And this game is a possession-based game. You need the puck to score. And that's a good trait to have, I guess. But yeah, I don't love the pick. Again, it's the 5th round. I'm not going to sit here crying about it. But just screams defensive center who probably offensively will not translate to the NHL. Hopefully he proves me wrong.
Mark?
Yeah. I don't understand the pick. It's like 3 in a row now at this point where it's like, I just don't understand it. I'm going to choose to trust our scouts and that they've seen something that the rest of the hockey world hasn't. To me feels like we're trying to be the smartest people in the room. And I fucking hate when that happens, honestly. My biggest pet peeve when you look back at some of the Sharks' old drafts, it was like, and the only consistent thing between those drafts and now is Burke. So I don't know if that is an element of it, but it's just like, I don't know why. And maybe every team thinks this about their scouting staff. I just feel like the Sharks do things that sometimes it's like, we're the smartest people in the room. We like this guy. He's going to be this. He's going to be a third line center. He's going to be that. It's just like, guys, I don't care how many times you watch a guy. This guy is a year older than draft eligible in the BCHL. It's like you said, like, how are his numbers not better? Marc-Edouard Vlasic in the QMJHL, let's remember this, was an absolutely dominant offensive defenseman, all right? Like, I don't like just stat watching, but at certain levels, it does tell the story, right?
Yeah.
And if this guy is anything resembling an NHL player, how is he not torching the BCHL in his draft plus 1 year? That I just don't get it. So, again, it's a 5th round pick. I'm not upset about it. I may sound upset. I'm actually not. But yeah, it's just like, I don't get it. And I would love to hear, like, be in the scouting room, a fly in the wall, just to listen to their analysis and hear what sold them on this guy, the last guy, and just understand it.
Yeah.
And I do think, sorry, go ahead, Jules.
No, I was just going to say, watch both of them light up the prospect scrimmage. I know that means goddamn nothing. I'm aware, but naturally
Your
that's
fan
exactly what's
favorites.
going to happen, right? No, I yeah, like these two picks, I'm not a big fan of, right? But yeah,
the
yeah, go
only
ahead.
thing that's kind of like, to me, that makes them kind of defensible, right? Like, one is on the national championship team, the other one's going to Michigan State again. Like,
Good program.
yeah, again, like these guys are all going to really good hockey programs, right? They're not going to like B tier hockey schools where I like, that's the only thing that kind of gives me pause here, is that they're going. But I mean, even still, like, you're even your best hockey school program, they still need their bottom six guy. And does that bottom six guy project to the AHL as a bottom six guy, or to the NHL as a bottom six guy? That's the question, right? Because it's easier to find guys who play well and put up more points and are more effective in the lower leagues, and then they diminish as they go up. So I always get nervous about guys that don't have much to start, and they're only, you can't diminish to nothing as you continue, because eventually there's going to be a wall where you just can't pass it, and you're not going to be able to advance up the levels of hockey. I do wonder, like, before we get to the last pick here, like, is a part of this, though, just like, I'm not trying to let the Sharks off the hook here, but is this also partially the strength of this draft a little bit too, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's an element of it.
Yeah, I think there's a part of it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I knew half those players taken in like the 5th round here. But I just think like the picks that the Sharks made don't really get you excited. You know what I mean? And yes, this draft was weak, but there's also an element like we really had to draft a double overager in the 5th round. Like, you're telling me this
I mean,
guy
that's
was
where to do it. If you're gonna draft it,
yeah,
an
but you're
overage
telling me
player,
he won't
like,
be there in like the 7th. Like,
yeah.
nothing against this kid, right? But
Yeah.
you see my logic there. Like,
No,
so, yeah, I think it's a weak draft, but
yeah.
I'm not going to get mad over 2 5th round picks, but honestly, these 2 5th round picks actually kind of pissed me off. So,
All right.
yeah.
And that will bring us to our last pick. Where is he? There he is. Richard Gallant was drafted in the 7th round, 210th overall. He is a 5'8" forward, 170 pounds, shoots left. His nationality is the US of A. He was on the US National Team Development Program. In 66 games, he had 29 goals, 24 assists, and 53 points, 32 penalty minutes, and was a plus 21. Elite Prospect ranks him as a 4 in skating, a 4.5 for shooting, a 5.5 for passing, a 4.5 for puck handling, a 5.5 for hockey sense, a 3.5 for physical, making him a D grade prospect. He was not ranked by Elite Prospects. Future considerations had him at 182. They ranked his skating as an A, his shot as a D, his playmaking as a D, a puck possession as a D, his hockey sense as a D, and his competitiveness as an A. Elite Prospects elevator pitch is a hardworking winger who is among the National Team Development Program's top goal scorers. He excels at give and go plays, physicality, and skating. Physicality while skating is his main hurdles between him and the NHL. Glant was one of the National Team Development Program's top scorers this season, and on many nights their most effective forward. He plays a creative, high-speed game focused on creating and exploiting gaps in coverage. His shifts wide, dragging. He shifts wide, dragging the defense with him, and then cuts inside. Defensive and off puck engagement were constants throughout the season. As Gallant always skates hard to get back into the play, he ties up threats and fearlessly battles much larger opponents. Future consideration says Gallant is a physical but undersized forward who is relentless and plays a high energy game, has no issues getting into puck battles with larger players. He has an endless motor and is often the first player into scrums and loves to battle in front of the net looking for rebounds. While his positioning and ability to read plays help him on the defensive end of the puck, he is more of a support piece than a defensive anchor. Offensively, his tool set lacks any outstanding features beyond his motor and effort. They conclude that he is a tenacious, high-compete winger whose combination of grit, intelligence, and situational passing makes him a strong candidate for a bottom 6 role. Who wants to go first? It's a 7th round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the 7th round pick. I was less angry about this 7th round pick than I was about the 2 5th round picks. So we're climbing that ranking right now. But I don't mind this pick, right? I think he fell because he's 5'8", and Florida Panthers again ruined the league, and everyone has to be.
They
over
did
6
ruin the
foot.
league, yes.
But I really don't mind the pick. He played with McKinney. He's a pain to play against. He's small, but he doesn't play small, if that makes sense. He's not afraid to get in the dirty. Yeah, this. Okay, yeah. Let me just say this. He plays the right way.
He does play the right way.
And if you can get that in the 7th round, well, happy birthday. No, love the pick. It's great. It's a 7th round pick. It's if he becomes even a 4th line player, you are clapping your hands. He does have some work to do, of course, but he has a really nice shot. I saw some of his highlight reels. He goes to the front of the net. He plays taller than what he is. So props to the kid.
Yeah. I would echo those statements. I think I'm actually fairly happy with this pick. These are the kind of picks I like late in the draft because is he going to be an NHLer? Probably not. He's 5'8". He's not really elite at anything. So no, is he likely not to play in the NHL? No, but I like the work ethic that I hear about. I like the intensity that he plays with, and this kind of guy that has upside. In the 7th round, that's a swing I'm cool with. If this was the 2nd round and we took this 5'8" forward who's not really elite offensively, then probably not. But at this point in the draft, I'm happy with it. We'll see how he does in college. I like that he scored 5 goals in the under 18s in 7 games. And I like what I read about him. So I'm pretty cool with this pick.
Yeah, committed to Harvard University. I forgot to include that. Yeah, for me, like this is the type of player. Like this is the type of player that's easy to root for. I mean and these are often the type of players that will surprise you, right? That just the odds seem incredibly stacked against them, and if they can defy all the odds, like those guys always turn into just completely lovable players. I can't get mad about any of these. I'm not allowed. I will not allow myself to get mad at 6th or 7th round picks because, in my opinion, you should abolish the 6th and 7th rounds at this point. Like, I just feel like do we need the 6th and 7th rounds at this point, especially as the league expands and you're drafting more and more players? Do we really need the 6th and 7th rounds anymore? I don't think so. The turnover rate for a 6th and 7th rounder is so infinitesimal that I think they should just abolish it. So I can't get mad at someone drafted in those rounds of rounds that I don't even think should exist anymore. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah.
But I do like I love this archetype of player. Again, easy to root for, and you just kind of want to see them defy all the odds and do great. Yeah, so I guess kind of that's up. So I'm gonna go around the table and I'm gonna ask your overall. Just give the Sharks draft a grade. Everyone else seems really high on the draft, so we're gonna probably like poo-poo it, and people are gonna be like, Scott Wheeler is way smarter than you, and he gave them an A. You guys suck, and that's fair.
Very accurate.
That's a thing you should put in the comments.
Please put that in the comments.
How are you guys feeling? Yeah, who wants to go first? It doesn't matter.
I'll give them a solid B+. I mean, everyone else is giving them A's, right? So I thought everyone was gonna give them like a fucking C when I left yesterday from Vegas. Yeah, I'd give them a solid B+. I thought they made some good picks. I thought they made some iffy picks, but I thought overall they had a good draft for a pretty weak draft class. So B+.
Mark?
I have to give them an A-, but with an asterisk. If there's no Michael Misa, or say they went even Desnoyers or Frondel instead of Misa, I think it drops to like a C or maybe a C+. But the fact that they did the right thing and you come away with probably a 2C or future 1C in Misa, I can't give you less than an A-. But I will caveat that with, and I wanted to say this earlier, but I really wanted to wait until we went through all the picks. Yeah. Like, does anyone feel comfortable like really banking on the fact that you have a single NHLer outside of Misa? And I want to say that what comes with that is not so much that, yes, Raven is the best goalie in the draft, sure,
Yeah.
but goalies fail all the time. All right. Wang, is it Wang? I'm not sure which way you say it, but whichever way you say it, he's a massive project. Like, there is absolutely a 50% chance it doesn't work out, right? Like, I love the upside. I like the physical frame. I like the NHL frame, and I like the tools, but there is absolutely a chance it doesn't work out. I do feel somewhat confident in our fourth pick, McKinney maybe turning into a third or fourth line player. But even then, I still question it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you look at last year, and again, we had 4 picks in the top 53. Last year, the minute that draft ended, I was certain we were getting 3 NHLers out of it, right? Like, Celebrini was obvious. Dickinson's an NHLer, and I think Chernyshov is an NHLer, right? Like, I think you have 3 guaranteed NHL players there. I don't see a situation in which all 3 don't make it. But this draft, I see very easy situations where just Misa makes it, and I think with the number of picks we had and as high as they were, that makes me question the draft strategy. So that's why I say A-, because I love Misa. I am super excited about it. It's probably the second most excited I've ever been over a draft pick. But after him, I really have very little excitement. Interest, but not excitement.
Yeah, I was at a B+, and I've come up to an A- after some thinking about it, for very similar reasons, right? I think that Michael Misa obviously is great. I really like the goalie. I'm really excited about the goalie. I'm glad that they took a swing to actually put like a decent goalie in the system rather than just trying to find one off the VHL discount rack. So I like that they've put like a quality, like, ranked goalie in the system. I like the Wang pick more today than I did when it happened. But I do obviously acknowledge the project. I will say this though, as far as the draft class goes, this is probably my least favorite Mike Grier draft class. And it might, and again, that could be just because of the strength of this draft. Like, this draft is going to be fascinating to look back on in 5 years and kind of revisit and see what hits from this draft and what doesn't. I'm fascinated to see that. And so I do think you have to take into consideration the strength of the draft class when you are giving grades like this. So, but I like what they did. The top of the draft is what matters. The end of the draft, like, once you get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, those are, I don't think those picks should overly affect how you feel about a draft class because of their, the picks in that range generally don't turn out. Like, that's just the reality of it. So I'm at an A-. I was at a B+. I came up to an A- because I do like the first 4 picks. I am excited about the goalie pick. I'm a little more excited about the goalie pick than you are, Mark. And I think that for me does it, but I can't go higher than that because I need to see, like, the Sharks took some projects here, but I need to see that they can actually do something with these projects. And once I see they do something with projects, I will be more comfortable taking more projects in the future. But so far, I just don't feel like we've ever, especially on the blue line, we've never really turned projects into players.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. So one of the things, and I don't know if you had this as another topic, one of the things I wanted to just cover on, which is an extension kind of the grade and kind of all of the things we were saying, how little excitement we feel for those middle round picks. Mm-hmm. I've just been going year by year, and I was looking at the names that we've taken. So last year, for example, 5th round, we took Colton Roberts and Nate Miskey. Both guys I was immediately excited about for where they were taken, right? You look at the 2023 draft, we had Cagnoni in the 4th round. Everyone was excited about that. That was a guy with a 2nd round rating, dropped to the 4th round, had a point per game in juniors. Like, that's something that pops off the page, right? And even Polkamp was very good in the summer dev camp, but he was also a point per game defenseman in his league at the time, right? Like, these were guys. Rimashevsky had like NHL size, did very well in the MHL. You go back to 2022, Jake Furlong was a 5th round pick. People felt pretty good about that, right? He was decent in a Canadian junior league. You go even further back, you start looking at guys like, now we've seen that some of these guys haven't really turned into anything, such as like a Shemalevsky, right? Chekovich. Like, you look at these guys though, at least for 6th, 7th rounders, you're not expecting an NHL, but you want some excitement. You want something that,
Yeah.
like, okay, wait, if they can dominate that league, maybe we can develop them. And that's the thing. That's where it's like, I'm not a big stat watcher, but this year, because I also didn't know a lot of these guys, I was looking at a lot of the stats, and I just don't feel like the projectability is there. Like, the project is probably a very nice term for some of these players, right? Like, they may be a project to be an AHL contributor. Like, it's just, so we'll see. But I would say of the years, kind of similar to what you said, I feel very, this might be the worst draft class. And that maybe does speak to the draft. Maybe it's been consensus that this is a weak draft.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of some feelings I've had about it as well.
Yeah, and Dan Moore's kind of asking this, like, is there anybody picked by anybody in the 4th or 5th round that you would have been genuinely excited about, though? Even Cameron Schmidt was in the 3rd.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me.
There was a few that I made notes about, but one of the ones that went really 5 picks after our pick, Victor Klingzel. He's another small forward. He was 5'9", but he was basically a point per game guy in the Swedish Junior League. So he was originally ranked by most people, I think, in the 2nd, early 3rd round, and he went 156. And one of the guys we took was at Heis, I think, was 150. So that was one that right there. It's like, that was where I sometimes worry if, like, Greer just drafts for frame. Because, like, who cares if you're 5'8" and it's a later round? Like, if he's an offensive wizard in a different league, great, let's take him, right? And if he doesn't make it to the NHL because of his size, fine. But don't just draft a guy because he's 6'3" and has an NHL frame, but he sucks at everything else, right?
Yeah.
Just a couple names that are coming up: Tommy Lafreniere and Quinn Bouchane. I don't like. Again, I'm not well versed as far as, like, guys like in the later rounds. Right, I knew the top of the round because, like, that's the show we do normally, unless Jules strikes me on to do day 2.
No, look, like, there's a guy, and this goes on to, like, Vegas is picking. He was picked at 55. Vegas traded up for him. Jacob East Wozniak, like, he was a guy that I was like targeting for the Sharks in, like, the 2nd round. And yes, I think they went McKinney the pick before, but it's like, this guy, this is according to Elite Prospects in the history of the modern top junior league in Sweden. No player has scored as many goals before the end of their U18 season as Jacob had. So, like, he was a guy I kind of wanted them to target. And yes, I know they needed D, but, like, they kind of passed up on him. And there's a few other guys like Blake Fiddler. I know I was, like, freaking out on the pod. Like, he was a guy that, like, you know, he's a safer pick. And I say that because, like, no, these are 18-year-old kids, right? It's hard for me to say, like, this guy is going to make the NHL. And Greer this year, it felt like, unlike last year's, went with super low floors, but really high ceilings. Or the complete opposite, like, super high ceiling and, like, you know, or, like, super high floor and, like, no ceiling. You know what I mean? This was kind of a disappointing draft year for Greer. The last 2 years, I've really loved what Greer has done with the draft. So it makes me a little question if it was just, like, us giving Greer the benefit of the doubt here, just a super weak draft class, like we said. But no, yeah, it's a disappointing low-key draft year. And, you know, luckily we didn't overthink the first pick, because I think I would have felt way worse about it if it was Frundell, Ravencraft, Wang.
Yeah. I think, if you don't take Misa at the top, and I think that's when you look at, like, what the other teams do with their rankings, like, or with their grades for the team, right? I mean, that's what they're going to say. They're going to say, well, Michael Misa, Ravensbergen, really, really great. And that's a good draft. And I mean, like, that's, you should, if in the first round you're supposed to take good players, obviously. But yeah, it's definitely the class that I'm at least overall least excited about. Like, I'm super excited about Michael Misa. I'm super excited about Ravensberg. I'm cautious. Like, I'm curious about Wang, right? Like, I'm curious to see what they can turn him into, or if they can turn him in, or if, you know, the Sharks need to not do this again with these super project D players. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for now. Because, I mean, what else am I going to do? I could come on and be angry about it, I guess, but I don't know, man. Any other players that kind of stood out, like any other picks that teams took that you thought were like maybe like steals, or just like what is this other team doing?
All of the Islanders picks,
Yeah,
Loki.
that was a great draft.
Yeah.
Even
Getting
Prokhorov in the second round.
yeah, like getting Victor Eklund. I thought the Flyers had a really good day too. I think getting Martone for them is insane. I didn't love their trade up for that kid Jack. Thought the Flyers had a really good draft. I thought the Islanders got Victor Eklund and Aitchison. I cannot pronounce that kid's name. I thought they had a really good draft.
It
I will
annoys
say,
me that the Rangers didn't have a pick until 43, and then friggin' Malcolm Spence
just
dropped
falls
right
into their lap.
I feel like that shit happens every year with the Rangers.
Yeah, because Gabe Perreault also just fell into
Yeah,
their lap.
exactly.
Yeah, I think those are it's easy. I thought I wasn't a fan of Boston's draft, but I do think they had an overall decent draft also. Pretty good draft.
Considering they got Higgins, you know.
Yeah, they got
And
Higgins.
Will Moore, I think, is a decent player. So
Yeah, because I mean, winners. Obviously, the Islanders are winners here. I mean, they got some really good players. I think for me, like for a team that's earnestly starting a rebuild, the Penguins confused me a lot.
Did not like the Ben Kindle pick.
Well, it's not even that. It's like Mark said earlier, where you just think you're too smart. You think you're outsmarting. You're like they're trading up and trading down, and it's like, why are we doing this? You could have just stayed pat and probably gotten the same players. Like, it's just the weirdness of that. And that's just very Kyle Dubas at this point, just moving all over the place for no reason whatsoever other than to look intelligent, I guess. I don't know. And they made some interesting picks.
They did get Bill Zinon.
Yes, I do like that.
Who was a good pickup for them. But besides that, I was like underwhelming.
He did draft 2 Greyhounds, though.
Well, when does he not draft 2 Greyhounds? There's a guy that's projected to go top, 20 next year. I'm sure he'll also,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much it. Anything else from the draft that you guys want to talk about? I feel like we've done a pretty good job here.
Yeah, I think just building upon the thought about all of our collective lack of excitement. I think we can individually be excited about certain picks.
Sure.
Whether it's Ravensbergen or Wang. But the one thing I would say is think about it this way, and this is all like fantasy hockey BS, but like say we came away from this draft with Misa and I don't even want to say Fiddler because that was kind of getting overdone about how much we all loved him. But let's say we came away with, instead of Ravensbergen at 30, we came away with someone such as Spence there, and then we used the 53rd pick to take a goalie because there was a run on goalies later on, and it might not have been the top goalie in the draft. Would you feel more excited? Because I personally would. I still don't love goalies in the top 2 rounds, but if we had used the 53rd pick and maybe not gotten Ravensbergen, and I don't know, I don't like small goalies, but what was the one? Ivankovic, he went in the 50s, and like we take him, then we come away with another guy who's a high upside forward. I don't know. These are the kind of things I've been toying with in my head, where it's like tossing it back and forth. I'm like, was the strategy? We can be still excited about that pick, but was it wise with how everything shaped up? That we could have gotten a goalie later on who still would have probably been our best prospect goalie after Askarov.
Goalie we got. I really like the goalie we got though. Yeah. Like I do really, really like him. I like the fact that like the Sharks have really never been the team that's like looked at like the top goalie and said, no, that's the guy we're going to take. It's always been late round projects or guys that they've brought in from other junior leagues that are, from around the world or whatever. I like the fact that they said, no, you know what? We're actually going to try and draft someone who has some reputation. I'm really excited about that pick. I might be in the minority there, but I think that pick, really, I don't know. I don't think highly of this draft class. Like I just look at this draft class and I don't think highly. And maybe I just based on the strength of the draft class, there was nothing that was going to make me more excited than I am now. Yeah. Right. Like I'm not super, I know some people are freaking out because like the right shot of the blue line is still a problem, but I don't think this was the draft you were going to solve that. So I don't know.
I look at last year's draft, right, and players who kind of fell into the second round. You have Igor Chernyshov, Dominic Badinka, Lucas Pedersen, Charlie Ellick, Alphon Fraze, Ilya Nabokov, Gabriel Eliason, Andrew Basha, Cole Hudson, like those Max Plant, Tanner Howe, like those names are just Ryder Ritchie. Like a lot of those guys would have gotten first in the first round this year's draft, right? So I do think it's partially just because like the lack of talent in this year's draft class to a certain degree. You're a good puck guy, don't worry. I just do think it's partially because of the lack of talent. But I look at it this way. The Sharks got, like Puck Guy said, the best forward, the ranked best forward in the class, ranked best goalie in the class, and what could turn out to be a absolute steal if everything pans out at 33 with Wang, right? It's very rare that you get the traits that Wang has in a prospect. Like he's an unnormal prospect, if that makes sense. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like with the athletic tools he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like on Wang, like I really like Carter Amico. So I mean, they're very similar. I think Amico is the more physical of the two, but Wang is like they're very similar profiles without the injuries that Carter Amico has. So I don't like it's hard for me to be like, okay, well, I'm really angry at this guy who's very similar to this other guy that I liked and has more injury red flags. Let me get to Jerry in the super chat here quick. $2. My son and I have been enjoying the show. Thanks. We thank you guys for tuning into the show. This weekend has been a ton of work, so we appreciate you guys coming and hanging out.
Also, if you haven't done so, go watch anytime Wang does an interview. The most he knows what he needs to improve on. He is so smart. Like he knows what he needs to improve on, and he's so self-aware, right? Like he if he hits, he definitely has like future like captain leadership role vibes. Like super duper mature, intelligent. Like his story is just awesome. Like if you have a chance, go listen to his story because it is awesome. Like that kid knows what he needs to improve upon. Super mature. Like the Sharks are like all of these picks. The Sharks are getting a really good person with them, and I know that sounds super cliche, so don't come at me. But yeah.
Yeah, I think he's very humble, and it sounds like he's like the kind of person who's going to work his ass off to get to that level, which is, I think, one of the main things you can ask for in a prospect, especially one that kind of has his frame and projection. So that is where I do have some confidence in that pick and him turning into at least a second pairing defenseman. I really like the person he seems to be.
Yeah, and I like that. And I think that too. Like as far as like my final grade goes, I think that's what increased me to from a B+ to an A2 because to an A- as well. Was kind of because I did like Carter Amico so much that it's really kind of hypocritical now to be like, no, I don't like this Wang pick at all. Like, so I think that was partially a part of the reason why my grade went from a B+ to an A-.
Real quick.
Well. Yep.
Not prospect related at all. Breaking news from Chris Johnson. Morgan Geeky signs a 6-year extension with the Bruins carrying a $5.5 million. So there you go. Breaking news.
Yay.
I don't know, man. I just wanted to share that because, we'd get yelled at if we didn't.
Yeah. All right. Let's I think we can get out of here. Let's get some final thoughts here, and then we can get out of here and the weekend can finally be over.
Oh, make sure to watch the free agency live stream because Jules apparently can't get enough of the camera.
Oh wow. All right, yeah. Free agency live stream. Maybe I'll pop on if I'm home. I don't know what I'm doing Canada Day yet, but if I'm home, maybe I'll pop on and say
Tuesday.
Hello.
Free agency live stream. Watch the Sharks do absolutely nothing, and I just sit here for 6 hours. But we'll do it. We'll have fun with it, and I'll give you some very in-depth analysis of what other teams are fucking up.
Any other things that we're doing coming up that I don't know about?
Oh, I thought you didn't know about that. Oh, okay. My bad.
No, I do. I knew about the live stream. I just can't remember if there's anything else I'm supposed to.
I don't. Promoting. Oh, the prospect scrimmage. We're gonna go live after. Okay, that's happening. The Sharks picked like the worst day to do it.
Day and time. It's like midday.
And time. It's like July 3rd at 11 a.m. I'm like, fuck you, Sharks. I know. We'll be doing that. I don't know what.
What is that my time? Why are you gonna be home?
2.
No. God damn it.
So yeah,
I will
we'll
just be landing in Vegas, so I think I'm going to try and watch it, but I'm
Can
not
you
sure if I'm going to be able to.
go to Taco Bell and get a shot of tequila for me, Mark.
Dude, I love
Damn
the
it.
Taco Bell Cantina on the
Yeah!
street. I absolutely love that place.
No,
But
yeah.
no, I was just going to say, because you asked for final thoughts, I was just going to throw in
Yeah,
that
go
I
ahead.
know I've sounded negative during this podcast. It's not negativity, it's just constructive criticism. All right. I
Fair.
actually am very excited about coming out of this draft. I have said it. I'll say it again. I think Eklund, I was super excited for because it was one of those guys where I had like really circled him on my page and I didn't think the Sharks were going to take him. So when they did, I was very excited. Celebrini, obviously everyone's super excited about, but we knew we were taking him, right? But when we took Misa, that just took such a weight off of my shoulders that had been weighing on me for weeks. And I am beyond excited about that. And I'm excited also from the draft in general. I have my criticisms, but I don't want my negativity to be thought of as like I hate this draft. I think it was good, and I'm very excited about
it. Quit your job. Fair enough. Yeah, it's considering it. No, you go ahead, Jules. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, tune in for all those. Prospect scrimmage will be fun. I can't wait for the Misa Chernyshov Wang trio to start or something crazy like that. I'm excited to see which prospect just suddenly pops out of nowhere and all Sharks fans are in love with them for the rest of the year because of one prospect scrimmage. But yeah, though my final thoughts are Misa is a San Jose Shark.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sound like state media now, and we're just gonna fully embrace that title because sometimes we get called state media and it fucking kills me inside. But the future is Teal, guys.
Oh god.
No, I'm excited again. I'm really excited about some of the players we took here. I'm excited about the direction of the San Jose Sharks overall. Again, like this is, I think when I look at the prospect pool now, this is probably the most excited I've been about the team since oh man.
Okay, anyways, keep going.
I'm excited. Like I'm excited about the team, and this is probably the most excited I've been about the team since 2016 when they went to the Cup final. That is how exciting. Like that's what the addition of a guy like Michael Misa just gives to this prospect pool and gives to my hopes for better days ahead, because we've definitely seen teams that have hope for better days ahead and haven't gotten them, but I feel very confident that the Sharks will. As a final note, if you are hitting us up in the comments or anything like that and you are like, hey, the X scouting service or X guy said this and you should have included that in the show. There's like 400 scouting services. I just used what I had available. If I took things from like everybody, it's like, oh, well, Scoaching said this and this guy said that, like we'd be here all fucking night, guys. So if I didn't use your scouting service of choice for this show, I apologize. But it's nothing against them. It was just, I kind of used what I had available, and yeah, so that's that. Let me get us the hell. Oh,
wait, real quick, Rob. Yeah.
Yes, Rob, $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Now that we have Misa, it's time to start the come up. Yeah, man, I want to see improvement. Not big improvement. I just I want to see. Here's what I want to see this year for the Sharks. I want to see like an Anaheim like improvement.
Yeah.
Enough points where you're like, yeah, things are moving forward, but not enough points where you're drafting outside of the top 10.
Yeah, where you think maybe the following season you can be competing for the playoffs.
Yeah. That's
like a good
that's
second
what I want.
half of the year. Yeah,
that's what I want this year. That's all I
luckily,
want.
next year's draft has all the right D on God's green planet Earth from like the first mock I saw. So,
okay. In case you missed this or you want to watch it again, you can find it obviously here on YouTube. You can find everything we do on tealtownusa.com. If you want to listen to this on your phone, you can download it on any of your podcatching apps, be that Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find this podcast there. If you are watching this after the fact and you would like to tell us what we got wrong or tell us that I should have used your scouting service of choice, do so in the comments. That's where you want to do it. I always read the comments. I don't always respond, but I definitely read them all. If there's something that I want to, if I feel like I can add something to what you said, I will definitely do it. But I do read all your comments. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button. If you are not subscribed and you would like more Sharks content like this, subscribing is really easy. You can hit the bell And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified whenever we go live. Sometimes that is for a crazy live stream for no reason. Sometimes it is for fun shows that we do. We this during the regular season, we go live after every Sharks game. We have a Sunday show where we kind of break down the week that was, and when news breaks, we fix it. So if all of that sounds good, you should subscribe to this channel and follow along tealtownusa.com. Do all those things. I super appreciate everybody being here. I hope you enjoyed the content that we did on the draft weekend, making it all rewardable for all of us. A lot of work went in, so I'm hoping that everyone enjoyed the content. And if you did enjoy the content, you should also tell us that in the comments too, because I could use the ego boost. That's it. Good night.